Hello, my name is Mrs. Kilpatrick. A lot of you already know me, but I wanted to get on here, introduce myself, and talk about AP Chemistry and the expectations for the year. So I'm Miss Kilpatrick. I've been teaching for about 15 years. I have taught pretty much every level of chemistry, and I've also taught physics as well. I have a bachelor's in chemistry and a master's in pharmaceutical chemistry. And I love teaching, I love chemistry, I love the subject. So I am here to try to make everyone successful in learning chemistry, and I'm hoping that everybody will have a good year. Now, this course is very demanding. So essentially what this course is, it's Gen Chem 1 and Gen Chem 2 for college. So you have the potential to earn up to 8 college credits because there is a lab component. So it's a grueling course. It's a grueling course because essentially we need to get through all of that content before a couple weeks before May 2nd. So May 2nd is the day of the exam. So it's very important that everybody stays on top of the course, because if you let it, like if you don't stay on top of it, then you could get to a point where it becomes almost impossible for you to pull yourself out of that hole. So I have a lot of resources available to help everybody be successful, and also I am a good resource. So if you have questions, you need to make sure you address those questions before it becomes too late. Okay, so this course, like I said, it's Gen Chem 1 and Gen Chem 2. So it's essentially 2 chemistry courses in this year. So one of the things I do always advise is everybody stays as proactive as possible. As soon as you have a question or as soon as you get lost, it's a good idea to go ahead and address it then before it gets too late, okay? All right, so because everything in this course builds, just like in Chem Honors or pre-IB chemistry, you see that there's a building of all the content, and you want to make sure you stay on top of it and that you're building yourself a good foundation. That way that you, when we get to the harder material, you can be successful with that. All right, so let's talk about my website really quick. Oops. So my website is kilpatrickscience.com. So it's my last name, science.com, and if you go to it, this is the home page. I have an AP link right here, so if you go to each of the units, you'll see that I have videos, and for the most part, I have a video for almost every single lecture that I give in class, and it pretty much matches what I do in class. So there's a note packet that they can follow along with typically, and then there's also the assignments right here. So I have all of that stuff already on my website, and I will try to keep it up to date as possible, and I might go back and redo some of the videos as well. But when you get to the website, you'll see that we have links for the different units. So that all that stuff is pretty much already there, and we are going to pretty much cover units 1 through 10 this year. So we have a lot of content to get through. So I also have some links on the other side for just like reference sheets and other helpful things. And then I do have a link for a review of the basics. So if they found that they don't remember how to do nomenclature, they are free to go back and look at that stuff too. They can also go back and look at the lower level chemistry stuff. So if there was something that you've forgotten about, you are always free to go back and look at some of the more basic stuff that we learned or that we would have learned in your prereq course. All right, so the website's here to help you. And if you are out or if you're quarantined, you definitely need to be utilizing this website to stay on top of it, because like I said, this course is very content heavy and everything builds. So it's important for you to stay on top of it. Now, the calendar link, I'm gonna update either at the beginning of the day or the end of the day. And if you go to it, it tells you like what we did that day. So that day we did do a quiz, and then if you look right here, okay, so last Thursday we did our first test, and then we finished the calibration curve activity. Okay, So you can go to the website and then click on the calendar link to see what we did that day, and then just go back to the corresponding unit to get the notes or to get the assignments to see what we need to have done. So there's that. Now, as far as the way the course is structured, I give a couple of quizzes per test, and I try to format the quizzes in a very similar fashion to the test. So they're going to get AP questions on the quizzes, and also for every single unit, there's going to be a set of FRQs. And they definitely need to make sure that they are working through the FRQs, because half of their test will have multiple choice, and then half of the test will be FRQs, or free response questions. So they want to see what those kind of questions would look like, and also how to respond, because sometimes you might answer the question, but you didn't really answer in the appropriate way to get the points. So I always have a set of FRQs for every single unit. And that's one of my main things that I say, if you don't do any of the homework, you need to be doing all the stuff I give, but the FRQs are probably the most important part, okay? I also have provided a tracker. Now the tracker has FRQ, QR codes on it, and essentially they can go check their answers. So I always try to provide a way for them to check their work and make sure they're doing it appropriately. All right, so there will be 3 to 4 summatives per quarter. That there's a few, I think that there's a little bit more. But at the end of every quarter, they have a quarter exam. The quarter exam will be comprehensive, and then that's how they can remediate any of those lower summative scores. So at the end of the quarter, they will have that quarter exam for remediation. Now, the whole year, though, we're preparing to take the AP exam. The AP exam will be on May 2nd at noon. And essentially, if they can get to the exam and they get a 5 on the exam, and let's say that they have any of their previous quarter grades and it was lower than an A, I will be happy to go back and change any of those scores that are lower than the score of the exam. So they have a chance to remediate during the quarter, at the end of the quarter really, and then at the end of the year they have the chance to remediate the entire year, okay? So they have plenty of chances to remediate and prove that they've learned the material, because I do feel like if you learn the material, you should get the grade. All right, so let's see. The other things I want to address really quick. Okay, required videos. Okay, we move at a very fast pace. So occasionally, not all the time, but occasionally I will assign them a video, because I've already created videos. I use a website called PlayPosit, and they will have to occasionally watch a video as homework. So the video requires you to log in. The website will ask for a login. You log in, you can watch the video, and then occasionally a question will pop up, and then it will be a formative grade. So there are videos that I'm going to require that they watch at home. Typically, I like to pick the videos that I think are generally review or easy enough topics that you should be able to go home, watch the video, come in with questions, and then we can discuss, and we can either move on to something a little bit harder and build on that, or we can do a lab that helps explain it, or we can maybe do some more practice FRQs. Like I said, it's a very, there's a heavy time crunch. So occasionally this will happen. It won't happen all the time, but occasionally they should have a video that they're gonna have to watch. Probably once to twice per unit. All right, so my Remind. Most of my students are already on their Remind. So if you would like to also get on the Remind, you are free to do that. So if you text 81010 and then use this as your message, so at 42F39H, this will let you join my Remind, and then if I send out any kind of messages, you can also see the messages that they're receiving. So if I send out a reminder about a test or lab coming up, or occasionally maybe I'll say, oh, you make sure you bring your computer or like a device to maybe do work on. Occasionally, if that happens, you can receive those text messages as well. Okay, makeup test. So generally, if they miss a test, as soon as I see their face, that's when they're going to be making up that test. Okay. Now, the most important thing, really, I just want to emphasize is that being proactive is really key for this class. Don't get lost. Don't wait until the day before a test. Don't wait until the end of the quarter, because by then it becomes very hard to get yourself caught back up, because as we go, we're building a foundation. If your foundation isn't sturdy, then it's going to make it very hard for you to be successful. So building that foundation is key, and asking questions and getting help and doing that along the way as opposed to waiting until the end is key. So if anybody ever needs help, let me know. Also, if you ever have questions or concerns, you can always shoot me an email. And my email address is brandy.kilpatrick@stjohns.k12.fl.us. And I believe it's on my website as well. Yep, right there. So if you ever had any questions, please just shoot me an email and I'll be happy to respond. All right, well, have a great day, and I hope to have a great year.